Hey everybody, it's Ricky Rolando here back with another Dream Journal. This is going to be Dream Journal number 10. Number. Huh. Anyways, I'm going to call it a lost proverb, and I may have to make it two parts, so you guys might not know the meaning at the end of this video, but you will know it if you watch the whole Dream Journal, which, like I said, may be two parts. Let's see what happens though. Maybe I can squeeze it all in. So it begins with my brothers and my sisters and my parents, so my whole family. We're all at this airport that doesn't resemble the airport I live by at all. The one I live by is the El Paso, Texas airport. If you've ever been to El Paso, Texas, there's an airport there. And basically, this one was way different. It was more like a subway, train station, prison, school, airport vibe. It was like a mixture of all those places. It kind of had touches of all those places, and I don't want to say that it was just an airport because it really was like all of that stuff. It seemed so weird. It was like a mall of systematic oppression. No, I'm just kidding, but kind of. Anyways, we're chilling, and I get separated from my family somehow, and I don't really know how or why. I don't know if we were just wandering around. Once you check in an airport, you go to airport, you show them your tickets or you buy your tickets, and then you go through security. And then once you go through security, you're at the airport, and you can wander around. It's kind of like a mall at that point. You kind of just go, and you can go eat, you can go buy stuff, really expensive stuff. But it was like that, and at some point I get separated from my family, and I don't know how or why. I think it was just to go wander around like that. But I'm going down this up escalator, and one of my brothers is coming up. I'm going down an up escalator. No, I'm going down an escalator, and one of my brothers is coming up an escalator. So we're going down and up the escalators, or I'm going down, my brother's coming up, and then in the middle of the hallway, like pretend the escalators are in a hallway because that's kind of how it was. It's like a hallway. You hit the escalators, but in the middle of the hallway, not in between the escalators, but in the middle of the hallway, there's like a wall, kind of like what you would see at like a public school, where it has like the metal framing with like glass, and then like the wire in the middle of the glass. It's kind of like that, but I think the glass, instead of it having the wire, I think it was bulletproof glass, and it was it was just separating the whole thing, and then there was like a doorway between each escalator so people could pass through. And then it was kind of just like a random ass wall, but in the dream it like was like a security wall somehow. I don't know, it doesn't make any sense the way I'm explaining it, but it didn't make any sense in the dream either. It was just like you pass through that doorway going down the escalator or coming up it, and then it was like harder to get back down or back up. Like you had to go through another set of security or some type of thing like that. I don't know. I don't know why it was like that, why it was there, but I was going down, my brother was coming up. My brother's like, "What are you doing?" And then I'm like, I don't know. I thought I was just wandering around. And then when he said that, I realized like, oh shit, I'm not gonna be able to come back up easily. Um, so yeah, I had some trouble getting back. But before I got back, I found this weird hallway. It was like, kind of like if you enter an airport, like for the first time, like when you're getting ready to fly out somewhere, you go to your airport that you're nearest by to, and then you get dropped off. You enter the airport, and there's that big row of desks that has all of the flight companies, and you just go and show them your ticket or whatever. So it was like that, but there was no doors behind you like to enter the airport. It was like a big hallway, so it was weird. So I don't know how people were entering the airport, or if that was like a separate section, you entered somewhere else or what, but I was right there just kind of like looking around like, where is everybody? And there was people around and stuff, and I think there was like a Starbucks right there on one side or something. It was random, and somehow I made my way back, and that was the only part that kind of looked like my airport besides the Starbucks. There's no Starbucks in my airport right there, or not my airport, but the one in El Paso. In El Paso, there's no Starbucks right as soon as you enter, but I think there is like a little coffee shop somewhere in there as like before you go. Actually, there is. I don't think it's a Starbucks, but there's a coffee shop a little bit before you enter, but it wasn't in the same spot as it is in real life. It was like in a different spot. And then I don't know. Anyways, I made it back to the regular part of the airport somehow without having to go through another set of security. I don't know how I got back there. Maybe my family made it back to me and I didn't make it back. Either ways, um, my brother was walking with my family and he gives me this look like I'm not gonna get to go with him anymore. And then he says, "I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, bro." And I'm like, "What the heck?" So I was like a little confused, but it like clicked to me like, okay, I'm not gonna get to go. So I was like, shit. And I didn't know what was gonna happen at that point. And then right after that, right behind my family was a guy holding my snake, and I have no clue why he was holding my snake, or I have no clue how he got my snake. I know why he was holding it because in the dream it just like random things just like clicked to me, and I knew why they were happening without having somebody have to explain them to me. And it's weird because the things that clicked don't make any sense, but this was one of them. And the guy was holding my snake, and I realized like, oh shit, he's gonna take that snake to a flight, and that flight's gonna take the snake to some place, and they're gonna feed it to these hungry people there because it's like a donation flight. And I was like, that was my reasoning in the dream, and I was like super upset because I realized my snake was gonna get taken away to go get eaten. And it's funny to wake up and realize that like you thought that in the dream, but that was what I thought. So I was like all upset, but I kind of just coped with it. Like at least it's going somewhere where they need food and it's gonna feed some people. So I was like whatever. I was a little bummed about it, but I couldn't do anything about it. So I was like whatever. And I like the dream went on, and I guess I didn't get to go with my family because after that I don't remember like how I got to the next portion of the dream. This could be a separate dream, but I'm gonna include it as the same one because it was still traveling and I still had thoughts of my family in it. So, um, what happened was I wake up on this freight train in like this desert that, if you've been to New Mexico, the New Mexico desert has a lot of yucca plants, it has a lot of creosote bushes, and it's got a lot of like little grasses and weeds and stuff. And tumbleweeds are one of the ones that are around here. They're actually not from here, but um, there's hella tumbleweeds. So we got tumbleweeds, we got uh, lots of yucca, we got lots of creosote. It's just like random desert plants, just like the desert around here in New Mexico. The sand was a little more red sand than what we have in New Mexico. It's a little more like Arizona vibes to me, maybe Utah vibes if you've been to Utah. Um, but either way, yeah, it wasn't like where I live, and so yeah, it was kind of interesting. And I'm gonna stop this dream journal here and do a part two because this is taking a long time, and this rest part is different, but it has to do with the same dream. So here we go. Later's. Check out part two.